Lisa Haisha here at the Soulblazing Sanctuary, and I'm here to interview Suzanne Whang. So let me share with you who Suzanne Whang is. I'm going to read her bio for you. Okay, Suzanne Whang was the host of HGTV's #1 show, House Hunters, for almost a decade. And she played Polly, the outrageous spa manager on NBC's Las Vegas for 4 seasons. She is also an award-winning stand-up comedian, a radio host, a published author, a keynote speaker, a minister, a political activist, and a stage 4 cancer thriver.
Woo!
Suzanne is also the person who first introduced Oprah to The Secret. So hi Suzanne, how are you today?
Hi Lisa, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It's so good to have you here today. I'm one of your biggest fans. I think you're brilliant, beautiful, and a mentor to so many. So,
when you were reading that bio, I thought, she sounds awesome.
Right! And you are!
Who's that? That sounds exhausting.
I know. But for someone like you and people who are passionate about life and passionate about continuing education, it doesn't seem like it's a lot of work. I'm sure.
Yeah,
like me,
I
love...
Sorry.
No, I'm saying we love what we do, so it just happens. Yeah, so I'm here to ask you a few questions. This is for our Legacy series. I want to know, what is the single greatest piece of advice you've ever received?
So for me, Lisa, I have to be honest with you, that is an impossible question to answer. That's like saying, what is your favorite movie of all time? Because I love movies. I have a favorite new movie every week. The current one is Hugo. I don't know if you've seen it.
I did. Brilliant. Yes.
Magnificent. But anyway, so I would just sort of pick and choose from a whole big list. Because I'm an overachieving Asian, I wrote like a whole big list of great pieces of advice.
Okay.
But one would be, and this is very serious, get a dog.
Okay.
I actually, it's half serious, half real, because, I mean, everything that you really need to know about life, I think you can get out of having a dog, because dogs live in the present moment.
Yes.
Dogs are endlessly, unconditionally loving towards you, no matter what you say or do.
This is true.
Every time I come home, my pug, Bonsai, runs to the door like, oh my God, you came home? That is so awesome! As if he's never seen me before in his life, right?
Yeah.
Every time I walk in the door. Imagine if we did that with our loved ones. Every time someone walks through the door, you went, oh my God, you came home? Yay, right?
I don't know, I think that could be exhausting a little bit.
But imagine if every time I gave you food at a restaurant, you went, oh my God, food?
Right.
This is my favorite. I mean, I give Bonsai the same food twice a day, every day. It's exactly the same thing. And he's like, oh my God, food? This is awesome.
So appreciative.
So grateful, so in the moment, so appreciative, so loving. I mean, if we could just all be like that, that would be wonderful. And I don't know if you know this about dogs, but you cannot punish them for something that they've done even 15 minutes ago, because they won't remember what that was. They won't connect what you're doing now to the past, because they're in the now. They're in Zen. They're in the bliss of the present moment. So definitely get a dog. The other thing would be find a Jewish guy, because they're the best.
Okay.
I think you can relate to that.
Yes.
But the significant one would probably be the change you want to see in the world, the famous Gandhi quote.
Yes.
And I really do believe that it's an inside job, and I've heard this expression in 12-step programs, to put down the magnifying glass and pick up the mirror. So it's so easy for all of us to have the magnifying glass on everything that's wrong with the outside world and other people and what's going on out there that's wrong, and that's what needs to change. Put that down, pick up the mirror, because that is a full-time job. And lead by example. I mean, the internal changes that you make will outpicture in the world around you, because it's all interconnected. So if you want world peace, then achieve inner peace, meditate.
Yes.
You know, if you want
more.
every,
Absolutely.
yes, if you want every human to have food, clothing, and shelter, make sure your own basic needs are taken care of first. Take care of yourself, honor yourself, work on yourself, challenge yourself to learn and stretch and grow. I love this acronym too, HALT. HALT stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. If you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, halt whatever you're doing and take care of one of those basic needs by eating, venting, finding a friend, taking a nap, and then proceed. You know, just really feel like it really is about having the courage to take a look inside and work on yourself, and that is the only real way that you can make an impact.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And that was beautifully said. So thank you so much for that. But someone as successful as you are, you must have had some hurdles or setbacks. Can you share with us one example of a hurdle or setback you've had and how you overcame it?
Well, I would say I have one that I was born with and one that is a recent development. So the one that I was born with is that I'm a recovering Asian.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, and there's no 12-step program for that, by the way.
You could create it, put it on your list of things to do.
Right. Yeah. But what I mean by that is, you know, the oppression historically of Asian women, that they should walk 10 steps behind and look down and cover their mouth, and it's just really a debilitating thing to feel like I have to overcome. Yes. The perfectionism that we've already talked about, the need to be perfect can lead to paralysis, procrastination, because why even start something if you don't think you can do it perfectly? The pressure, you know, truly the focus on education is extremely important. However, if I got a 99 on a test, oh no, who got 100? Like, really?
Yeah.
It's a 99, it's still an A, you know. So that's been something to overcome, especially as an artist, because there's no such thing as perfectionism in art. There's no such thing as the perfect painting or the perfect song, because it's so subjective. So you need to just let go of that, right? I've really learned to just do my best and not worry about being perfect. And then there's the legacy of shame. I think that Asians have sort of the Olympic gold medal in shame, because we are taught to be so ashamed of so many things, and to the point where if you shame yourself or your family, you're supposed to kill yourself. Not jokingly, really.
Yes.
Really, the thing that would be bring back honor to the family would be to kill yourself. I don't know if you know this, but apparently there was a man, a Japanese man, I'm Korean, there was a Japanese man on the Titanic who got onto a life raft that was only supposed to be for women and children. And because he was thinking, I need to live, I need to go take care of my family in Japan. And when the Japanese heard about this, he received hate mail and death threats and was exiled from the country for the rest of his life for dishonoring the country by getting on a boat that was supposed to be for women and children. So even though I'm Korean, it's, you know, Korean culture, Japanese culture, Chinese culture, there's a lot of stuff that has to do with shame. And that has to do with, it's shameful to air your dirty laundry in public and admit that you have problems. Right. It's considered very low class and tacky to admit you have problems. You're just supposed to be like, oh no, everything fine, everything perfect, don't worry, okay, thank you, when things are really going terribly in their lives. That's why you rarely see Asians at 12-step meetings or support groups or even in therapy, because that would be admitting that you have a problem and that you need help.
That's the same in the Middle Eastern culture too.
Is that true?
Yeah, yes, so I understand that completely.
And so one of the things I've heard in 12-step rooms is we are only as sick as our secrets, which leads to the next big obstacle, I would say, that has been hugely impactful in my life, which is that over the past 5 years, I've had breast cancer 3 times, because I'm an overachieving Asian. Can't just do it once, I'm gonna do it 3 times. It was so fun the first 2 times, I just had to do it again. But one of the reasons why it became stage 4 cancer in February. So since February, oh, by the way, in the past 5 years, I have done Western treatments, Eastern treatments, alternative treatments. I have traveled the world. I have done illegal treatments. I've tried 50 different things. I have spent my life savings on all of this. But the reason that it is now reversing has a large, in large part is because I decided to finally go public about it, come out of the cancer closet, stop keeping it a toxic secret that I was somehow ashamed of. It's not even contagious, or do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
Why am I ashamed of that? It's like I felt some sort of sense of failure that I hadn't figured out how to cure it the first 2 times. And so I decided to come out of the closet, go public. I did a press release. I did an NBC News interview. I really reached out for help, and I decided to really get vulnerable, throw pride out the window, and for the first time ever, stay still, slow down, ask for help, and really receive it when it was offered to me. And the reason that this is so moving, it was like my heart became cracked open. I had a grapefruit-sized tumor directly over my heart. That's not a coincidence, because now that is gone. You know, it's like the boulder between my heart and the world has been removed. And I had been a person up until this point who, I'm sure that you can relate to this, Lisa, and a lot of women in this country, where I was taught to be the superhero, Wonder Woman, be all things to all people, save and fix and heal and help everyone, be everyone's teacher and mentor, be everyone's everything.
Yes, yes.
That's what you need to be on this planet. And that's what I was.
Especially here in Los Angeles.
Yes,
Yes,
you have
and
to be
the
the
entertainment
best
business.
everything.
Yes.
You have to be the best spiritual leader and girlfriend, wife, mother, and then whatever.
Your body has to be a size 2. I mean,
Yes.
everything. Looks, you can't have a wrinkle.
Yes.
It's perfection across the board.
Right.
Yes.
And I got to realize that some of my friends who showed up in droves to come and help me when I was in the hospital, recovering from surgery, radiation, chemo, complications, infections, I mean, just devastating physical problems. They said to me, "We are ecstatic to be able to come here and help you. We have felt up until now that you've been gypping us out of half of a friendship. When we're in trouble and we need help, we tell you, and you are so there for us. When you're in trouble and you need help, you don't tell anybody, and so we don't know, so we don't get to express our love back to you." And I just thought, wow, I never thought of it that way.
Oh, you did a beautiful campaign, Suzanne, and you really did reach out to your community, which was a great example for everyone in your community to see. Like, even though I wasn't able to participate in some of your events, which I'm so disappointed, I know you're going to send me some video footage, because you not only asked for help, but you created events that help others. You gathered some of your friends, which are amazing people, to actually perform and give back. So you were giving even though you were in a situation where you really just needed to relax and receive. So that was what was beautiful there, and that's what a lot of people in your community talked about also. So I want to give you kudos for that also.
Well, thank you. I mean, who knew that it would take courage to receive?
It's true, though. That's what most of my clients come in and talk about. It's so hard to receive that they get depleted. And their hearts are sad and their hearts are broken. That's the cancer. You know, where does your tumor arrive? You know, it's, you know, when we have a...
My heart,
heart, yes.
And it's about self-nurturing and self-loving. I mean, truly, it was, it felt excruciating to let myself be loved. And then there's also that fear of, I think, rejection possibly, where what if you reach out for help finally and there's no one there? And guess what I found out? I found out that everyone that I thought was my friend is. Oh my God.
Okay, that's remarkable. Right there. That's healing. That could heal your cancer, which it did.
Yes.
Yes, you are a miracle right now.
My latest test results show that my tumors are either shrinking or disappearing, and my blood tests, the tumor marker levels have gone down to the healthy range. So I'm in the process of reversing this incurable disease, which I of course don't believe there's any such thing as an incurable disease. Yes. I believe that the mind and the body and the spirit work in conjunction. So even though the physical attributes might give certain information, I don't believe in statistics. I mean, one of the things that I believe is statistics are just numbers about what other people have experienced in the past and have nothing to do with my present and my future. Because think about it, if I believed in statistics, I wouldn't exist because I'm a minority female with small tits living in Hollywood. I should never be working, right? But I too, I've had a full, wonderful career. I'm 49 years old, and I'm a vibrant part of this entertainment business.
Which leads me to the next question. How do you become one of the top 1% in your field and be happy?
Well, I would say passion, authenticity, optimism, courage, generosity, integrity, humor, having a spiritual serenity and anchor, having endless enthusiasm and curiosity, definitely having talent and intelligence help, but I really believe that it is part of the legacy that my parents gave to me why I'm a success. My parents raised me every day. They told me they loved me, hugged me and kissed me, made me laugh, and said that I am beautiful, wonderful, incredible, and talented and smart, and I can achieve anything that I want to in the world. And I believed them. So what I've lived is it never occurred to me that I couldn't.
Right.
It's a belief system. I absolutely believed that.
So what about people who didn't have what you had? How would they gain that?
That you can, at any point, the way that you really know that you've become an adult is when you stop blaming your parents for anything anymore. Your parents were just people who were doing the best that they could based on the resources and their own upbringings, right? So at any point, you can know you're an adult when you see your parents just as people, and you can parent yourself. And parenting yourself means all these belief systems are thoughts that get repeated. We learn by repetition.
Yes.
You can put new tapes in your head that you put in there. So it's just like clean slate. Every time I meditate, I visualize like a dry erase board with all kinds of thoughts on it, right? And I just systematically go and gently wipe them all off, clean slate, or I imagine taking like a hose with a nozzle and just spraying it and seeing it all just dissolve away. And that I can start each day with a launching pad of whatever I would like to put there. And that it's up to me. And that's the only thing that you do have the power to do. It's like in the Serenity Prayer, like, accept the things you cannot change. That would be other people, the past, what they've said to you, external circumstances, right? Change the things you can. Whatever I choose to eat, drink, think, believe, whatever actions I take, those are all my choice.
Yes.
And so you can reparent yourself at any point. One of my favorite stories about my parents is that they told me that they were brand new parents. They were new to America. They had never had a child before. They were reading the Dr. Benjamin Spock book about how to raise a baby because they wanted to do it right. And there was something in the book about how if your baby is in a crib crying at night, you are not to go and pick up that child because the child needs to learn to self-soothe.
Yes.
This was the philosophy. Do not pick up your child because if you pick up your child every time it cries, the child will depend on you for comfort for the rest of its life. Now, I don't pretend to know whether that's a good idea or not. All I know is that my parents read that and decided that that's what they were supposed to do. So that there was one night that they described to me where they were in the living room and I was in my crib, I was a little baby, and I started crying. And they both desperately wanted to go in and pick me up because I'm their baby and I'm crying. So they sat on the couch and held each other's hands really tightly and looked in each other's eyes, crying to try to prevent themselves from going in to pick me up. Because they thought that was the right thing to do. And I just found that so beautiful and moving that those are two people, even if that was a mistake.
Yes. They were doing the best they could.
That was their best idea for how to raise me because they read that book.
Yes.
And so I would say, really just know that whatever your parents did, they're just humans just like you, and you can reparent yourself at any time.
And forgiveness. Forgive them for anything that they did because it's only affecting you. Yes, it's stalling your life. That's
Black
beautiful.
belt spirituality would be to radically forgive everyone, everything, all of the time.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I think of forgiveness now as something that is definitely for me, not for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
It is like a divine scissors for me. I just imagine like a divine pair of scissors that cuts any toxic umbilical cord of dark energy that exists between me and another human being, that I can just release that. And that doesn't do me any good. There's a great expression, resentment is like drinking a glass of poison and then waiting for the other person to die.
Right.
It's insane.
It's insane. Yeah.
The people that you resent probably don't know and don't care and are off living their lives. So the only person that's suffering is you.
Yes. And
So
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, to drink that resentment.
And continuously, hourly.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll just pour that down the drain.
Yes.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yes. And
I'll just
reprogram.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, with that said, what do you want your legacy to be?
Well, I love this question because it was really thought-provoking for me, and I asked my assistant about this. I said, well, what do you think my legacy is, or what I would want it to be? I'm just interested in your perspective. And he said that when he first met me, when I was interviewing him for the job of being my assistant, I told him that I had been frustrated because I could never keep an assistant, because my assistants would always leave me and go off and follow their dreams. And he said, well, that sounds amazing. It sounds like working for you inspires them, that you must lead them by example to go off and follow their dreams. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that would be something that would be part of my legacy. I love that I could be somebody who leads by example and lives my life to the fullest and follows my dreams with courage and humor and generosity and accountability. And I also like the idea that I'm somebody who learned how to give and receive unconditional love, because it really does seem like, especially in Los Angeles, it seems like there can be so many conditions that we put on love. Yes. Conditions we put on happiness.
Yes.
Like, I'll be happy when ... happens, meaning I will delay my happiness until something happens in the outside world.
Yes.
As opposed to, I think we have that backwards. Why don't I choose to be happy first, and then those things will happen?
Yes. I get that a lot, again, with clients saying, I'm just not happy. If I get this, I'm going to be happy. Or if I do this, I'll be happy. Or I'd love to donate to a cause, but I can't afford it. I'm only making X amount a year. Like, donate $1 someplace. Give $1 to a homeless person. Give $1. I don't care what you do, but it's the now.
Right.
It's right now that you're living your life. So
yes. It's so interesting, too. Like, at some of these fundraisers that I have been a part of to help raise money for all the medical bills that I've accrued over the last 5 years. One of the things that happened at the last fundraiser was that it started to feel like a funeral where people were giving eulogies about me, except that I'm alive and I get to hear what they're saying, the amazing things that they're saying and how they feel about me now while I'm alive.
Which is so beautiful. I tell people that have your funeral while you're alive, and some people think that's too creepy.
And in a small way, what I got from that is, like, I would love to create something, maybe we can do this together, called eulogies, where the exercise would be, or it could be a website or a TV series or a documentary, where the exercise is, pick one person in your life that you really care about. Write their eulogy now.
Yes.
Everything that you would say if you got up to speak about them and what they've meant to you and how you feel about them at their funeral. And then say it to them now.
Yes. Yes. I have that in my workshops, my 5-day and 7-day. I have them do that for 3 people in their lives. And to write their own of what they would want someone to say to them. Because I think that's so important, going, who are you? And can someone honestly say these things about you? If not, what do you want them honestly to be able to say about you? And then become that person. Right now, what steps do you need to take to be that person? Right. So it's very powerful.
What is the value of, at a funeral, giving a great eulogy about the person who's now dead and is not listening to, at least in their human form, to what you're saying?
Yes.
And every time I see something in a television show or movie about somebody who, their father dies, oh, I never told my father that I loved him. And I'm thinking, you didn't?
Yeah.
Really?
I know. But
did, and you're going to say it at his funeral?
I know. And that's something that you live with for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, it takes a lot for a person to actually do that. And it
Yes.
really takes an evolved person, someone who's really highly in tune to really what life is about. And it's very hard. Some people have gone through such traumatic things in their lives. Just with Steve Jobs passing, his birth father was saying he could not go and say goodbye to Steve because he was afraid Steve would ask for his money. Thinking that Steve wants something in return just because of who he is. So he never got that closure. And something like that is very sad. Because sometimes you have to put your ego aside, set it aside, and just say, I'm going to do this regardless. Let the cards fall where they may, but I said my piece. And he said, he's Syrian, and he said his ego was too big to do that. So, yes. And that's sad, because that is something he will live with every single day of his life.
Yeah.
So it's so important. So all listeners out there, make amends.
Yes, and tell the people that you love how you feel about them, and if somebody really means something to you, tell them now. Don't wait, because you just have no idea what's going to happen next. I mean, and one of the things that I'm really grateful for, I ended up being grateful for the whole cancer experience, because I really have been cracked open, and I really learned how to receive love and let the arrows come inward instead of all going outward all the time. And I ended up being so grateful for that. And I've been writing and speaking and performing about my experience with reversing stage 4 cancer, and saying things like, I'm going to do a sitcom and call it, My Left Tit, or 1.5 Tits,
Right.
or Cancer Can Suck My Cock. And people are going, how can you make jokes about this? And I'm thinking, how can I not? Because that's who I am, and I believe that there is a lot of power in laughter and in humor. I mean, my grandfather was a famous Korean minister who was controversial for using humor in his sermons. And he said it's, only way get people stay awake. Because every Sunday he wanted them to stay awake, so he'd keep them laughing. And I believe that it breaks down people's defenses. It levels the playing field. You can sneak your message in. It makes us all one. And when we are laughing, we are in the present moment. You can't be laughing and not be in the present moment. You can't be laughing and also worried about the future or upset about the past. No, you're in the now. True. And it's good for your ab muscles, and it releases serotonin, I think, and it's good for your immune system.
Yes, and that's part of your legacy also, making people laugh. Because I'm sure everyone in your life would say that about you. She's made me laugh.
Absolutely.
So, thank you so much for this time together, Suzanne. You were wonderful.
I love you madly, Lisa Haisha.
I love you too. Until next time.